Guys, welcome to my channel. I would like to share my coming out video with you guys, because if you guys haven't already known, like, it's kind of obvious that I'm fucking gay. Okay, I like fucking dick, guys. So let's start back when I knew when I was gay. So ever since I was born, like a little boy, as far back as I can remember, like as a baby with no consciousness, like I was always been really girly, really femme, you know. I've been like, I will wear my aunt's heels and play with makeup and then clip my hair up, you know, like really girly things, like carry a purse. Probably because also the fact that I have one older sister, and my mom, every time she buys clothes for my sister, she was like, oh, let's buy Khoaplam, something like that, you know, really something similar to my sister. So basically I was always girly, and as I was growing up, you know, like I always like girly things, like watched like Powerpuff Girls, I always like Sailor Moon and stuff. So like always did girly things. Like my parents never said anything, you know. I was born and raised in a Vietnamese, you know, background. So, you know, my parents are very Vietnamese traditional. And they didn't really say anything, you know, unless like one of my older like relatives, like my aunts and uncles, say something like, oh, Khoa shouldn't really be doing this, you know. Maybe you should like give him something manly to wear, you know, like help him change it up and everything. But like as I was growing up, like my parents never said anything. They let me do whatever. So that's until like I was, you know, I went out to the playground, I played with the boys and stuff, and then the boys was like, ew, you're gay, you know, like, you know, it seems like I never knew what gay was until I like, they were like, you know, there's like a stigma behind it, like, oh, I'm gay, it seems like something bad, you know. I was like getting picked and made fun of, and then I was like getting like, you know, beat up and stuff, and my sister always defended me. She was always there to like, you know, no, he's not gay and stuff. And I realized I associate gay with being bad. So I always denied it. I was like, no, I'm not gay, you know, as I was growing up. And like I still had that feminine part of me, you know, like my voice is really feminine. I always got picked on for my feminine voice and like my feminine characteristics, and I just did everything feminine. And this is like, as I was growing up, like all my friends were always girls. Like I always click with girls like that. Guys, I have more difficulty because like they always pick on me and make fun of me. It's like always like I felt always ostracized or isolated from the boys. And like, you know, I try to like be like more like a boy, dress like a boy, you know. I try to play boy toys and stuff. And then guys, they were nice to me because my sister was hot. Okay, my sister, she was pretty. So the guys, they were nice to me, you know, just like, oh, your sister's hot, let me, you know, be your friend or whatever. There was times when, you know, just guys, just, they were nice to me sometimes. But like growing up was really hard for me. Like, you know, in the middle school, like that was the most toughest time for me, you know, like I was getting picked on a lot. I got like beat up and stuff. Like it was just like, there was like, you know, really dark moments in time in my life. And there was like one point where I felt like everybody was against me, and I thought like, you know, like I wanted to kill myself, you know. But like I was thinking to myself like, you know, nobody wants me, nobody loves me, you know, let me just end it or whatever. But I didn't do it, you know. I pushed through, and you know, it was like only a temporary moment. Until I feel like what was the biggest moment that really helped me come out was Glee, you know. So I was watching Glee with Kurt in the show. He was really flamboyant and really like, you know, something like similar to me. I couldn't like relate to and see like myself in his shoes. So I feel like that show really helped me came out. So the first person I ever came out to was my sister, you know. You start small or whatever. You be like, oh, I think I'm bi. So I told my sister I was bi. No damn straight. Well, I was motherfucking lying. I know I was gay. Everybody knew I was gay, but never claimed it until then. Like I probably was like in 7th or 8th grade. I told her, and then like as it progressed, I was like, you know, I'm gay or whatever. And then I told my sister at one point, I was spending a time, I spent over the weekend at my cousin's house, my older cousin, and one of them is Christian. So, and I'm really close with him, and I was like, and I always told him I was straight or whatever, and I like had this foresaw or whatever. But I told her, I was like, hey, that's my sister's name. I was like, I think you should, can you help me tell them that I'm gay? She was like, yeah. So she told both of my cousins through text, and then my eldest cousin, she was like, she's a girl. She's like, yeah, we already knew, you know, we already knew you were gay and everything. One time we had like dinner and her friends were over. She's like, oh, is your cousin gay? She's like, yeah, he just haven't came out yet, you know. So she was like, you know, very comforting to tell me that everybody knew, the whole family knew I was gay. And rest assured me, like, when her mom, like, is my aunt, like, she's been like always like kind of look down on me like, oh, you're gay, you know, you shouldn't be doing these feminine things. And then she like, you know, like literally had my back. She was like, oh, you know, this is how he is. You can't change how he was born and raised, you know, just the way he was and everything. And it was, you know, really comforting that she was there for me. And then her brother, which is the one I'm close to, like, he came back home. He was like, hey, it was like late at night. I was like downstairs at his house, his living room. He was like, hey, I just got a text from Tay that you're gay. And I was like, yeah, you know, it was really awkward because like he's Christian, like I said, and I'm really close with him. And it was just like, you know, he was like, you know, I understand, you know, he's very loving. He's a very kind person. I will say that. But like, he reassured me that he was there for me and he had my back. So after that, you know, I came out to my closest family members was my sister, my cousins, and high school. I basically like lived like myself. Like, you know, I was like, you know, high school is like when you're discovering yourself. So as freshman year, I came in at like, my sister already started, like, she's like 2 years older than me. Like, well, she's 3 years older than me, but like 2 years ahead of me in school. Or I think 4 years, I don't know. 4 years older than me, 2 years ahead of me in school. But anyways, she was like a junior and I was like going in as a freshman, and I remember I walked in, I saw this hottest freaking senior. I tell her, like, you know, I live as my authentic self. I was like, oh my god, I think he's hot, like, ooh, like, you know, I was like discovering myself. I was like the first boy and like ever to wear, like in my high school, to wear Uggs, you know, because I was like, ooh, I wanted to wear Uggs, you know. That's when I started experiencing with fashion. I wore the most flamboyant thing in school. Like, for sure, I went to an all-black high school, okay? So, for sure, I got, like, picked on and ridiculed for wearing Uggs, like, huh? And then, like, I realized, that was the moment I realized when people, like, you know, if you don't really have a reaction to what they say to you and do, like, they stop, you know? There was this group of boys that, like, they were like, Khoa, come over. They were like, read this. And I was like, I'm gay. That's what was wrote on the desk. And I read it, and they laughed. It was like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like this. Literally, my reaction was like, okay, and I just kept it moving. And then there was one time, there was like, oh, Khoa said, Trey Songz is ugly, and I was like, I never said that. And it was kind of like, you know, he liked Trey Songz or whatever. I was like, literally, my reaction was always like this. Like, I never had a reaction to anything. I just did my own thing, and the boys, like, literally just stopped. Like I said, also, my sister was hot, so they were like, oh, your sister is hot and everything there. And that's how they, like, talk to me and somewhat become my friend. But, you know, and then also, that's when I first wore makeup, and then I started, like, looking prettier. I started wearing makeup. I, like, wore the most flamboyant thing, getting my hair done. So the guys were like, oh, wow, you're, like, you know, I'm starting to look pretty. They're like, you, like, low-key look good. Like, they're like, oh, you look like a mannequin. You're, like, you know, you, like, cute or whatever. But, like, they wouldn't directly say it. They would indirectly refer to it. So as high school went on, I, like, you know, did more experiment with my looks. I did makeup. I did hair. I wore the most craziest outfit, the most, like, really flamboyant outfits you could ever think of. And that's probably why I got voted the most fashion person in my senior class. Don't know how the fuck I did it, but, like, everybody in that school basically was fashionable. It was, like, basically a fashion show all the fucking time. But, yeah, but as I was thinking through my head when I was going through high school, I was like, oh, if people ask me, yes, I will tell them I'm gay, you know. And there was this one kid, I remember, his name was Daoud. He was cute or whatever. But I remember him, and he asked me, and I was like, yeah, I'm gay. And I remember I felt that moment. Like, I never have to tell people. People already knew, you know, by me just opening my mouth, or my mannerism is really flamboyant, really feminine, and gay. So I remember he asked me, and I was like, yeah, I'm gay. And I felt that warm, like, embarrassed. I was getting sweaty, like, telling the first person, like, outside my family that I was gay. It was kind of nerve-wracking, but I remember it felt relieving. I felt like something, like a cage was broken, like, you know, it just felt like so amazing. Like, I could finally live, like, my authentic self. So when college came, oh, that's when I was really, really fucking gay, okay? I went to the fucking like the Gay Straight Alliance, and then I went to the fucking first time went to the gay club, and it was so nice. And that's when I started going on Grindr, doing gay things. I went on my first date, like everything. When I went to college, everything was like, I live like my full authentic self, okay? Like now, like I still live my, you know, people know I'm gay. I'm open about it. Like me going to gay pride, going to gay events, like I'm like full on gay, you know, rainbow. This is who I am. This is my identity. So I accepted that part of me. So now, like, and like right now, like when in college, I lived my full authentic self. Everybody knew I was gay, like, you know. And then like I felt like with more like social media at the time when like Glee came out, like gay like representation was getting more represented on like television, you know. So it was like more exposure, more people are aware of it, more people are getting educated about being gay, you know. It's not like a taboo thing. I remember my last year of high school, I worked at my first shop, a frozen yogurt shop, and when gay, same-sex marriage was legal everywhere, it was the most, like, best feeling ever. My boss was like, oh my god, did you see, on the news that, everybody, like, you know, same-sex partners can get married now. I was like, wow, this is, like, the most liberating time in my life. Like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I remember that time. And how I came out to my parents. Okay, now that was another thing. Okay, I felt like, okay, I go out late at night, you know, it's like, oh, like my mom's like, where you going? And I lie, but like, I'm just going to the movies. I'm about to go hang out with my old high school friends. No, I'm just going to see a boy. My mom's not that stupid. She connect one-on-one. So there was, a time my sister, she was like, oh, hey, I think, mom, you know, you're gay. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, we were in the car, because my mom's really close to my sister. She's not as close to me. She was like, yeah, we were driving, and I think she knows you're gay. I was like, how do you know? And she was telling me like, oh, like, you know, my mom was like asking indirect questions, basically. So my parents have been asking me like a couple years ago, they were like, oh, when are you gonna bring a girlfriend home or whatever, you know, because my parents, like I said, are very Vietnamese traditional. They want to have like grandkids. They want to have like, you know, basically me be straight or whatever. But I had to break, you know, I had to break it down to them like, you would know whoever that person is when I bring them home. Basically like me referring to, it's gonna be a guy. Don't get disappointed. But they were like, okay, and they keep asking. There was one moment when I was like, came downstairs trying to make lunch. My mom was right there, like sewing her little, whatever, her clothes. And she was like, when are you gonna bring her girlfriend home? I was like, you would know when I bring them home. She's like, wait, so you're telling me you like guys? And that was the point when I had it. I was like, yeah, so what? What if I do like guys? She was like, oh, so your aunts and uncles are right, you are gay. And I was like, yeah, so what? You know, it's my life, you know, I feel like, this is my philosophy behind it. You know, life is short. You know, why you want to live a fake life just to please other people, you know? Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, those people will eventually be dead. They won't be here, and then you basically did whatever you had to do, you know, to make them happy, but later on, you're not happy with yourself because you've been lying this whole fucking time, you know? You put like a mask on, you faked yourself, and now you married a wife. Now you don't even love your wife, and then, you know, that's wrong for her. You did that to her, you know. I feel that's totally wrong. I feel like I said, life is really short. I feel like you should live your authentic self and be true to yourself because it feels so free and liberating, like to be your true authentic self. So at that time, my mom was like, okay, well, your aunts and uncles are right. And they were like, well, my mom's like, she's not that really educated because in Vietnam, she only had like middle school education, and then high school, like you have to pay money. And then like when she came to America, she didn't go to college like my dad's like, he has masters. So my mom was like, oh, she thought it was a mental illness. She was like, oh, we're gonna have to take you to the hospital and get pills. I was like, what? What do you mean? And like, she was like, I think you're sick and all that stuff. And then my dad came home and she told him about it. My dad was like sad about it. He was like, this is the last generation of the lamb. I don't want to have any grandkids. I'm like, okay, you're being really fucking dramatic, okay? Like, this is not the last generation of the lamb. My sister got married, okay? She has a child. I can still have kids, you know, I can have a surrogate, I can adopt. It's not the end of the freaking world, okay? If I want to keep my last name, I'm more than willing to. It's my name, you know. If I want to keep my maiden name, if I want to take my husband's name, you know, it's ultimately up to me. But I was like, it's not the end of the world. So, you know, they just like kept it moving. They like, you know, life move on. And then like there was time when they like, oh, they like act like they forgot about it. They were like, oh, so when are you gonna bring a girlfriend home? I'm like, I told you guys I'm gay. Like, you know, what does not make sense to you guys, you know? There was one moment last year when I went on a family trip with them to go to New Orleans, and we really had it because I was laying in the backseat of the car. My dad was driving. It was a family road trip before I went to study abroad in Italy. I was talking about marriage. I was like, oh, if I get married, you know, you guys, and you know, you can come or not. You can show up or you cannot. Like, don't have to show up. It's up to ultimately up to you. So my dad was like, oh, you're so rude and disrespectful. You know, when I got married to your mom, I asked my, like my grandma and grandpa, my mom and dad and everything. I was like, what do you mean? Okay, like, I don't have, it's my wedding. If I get married with the guy I love, I want to like have people there that love and support me. I don't want to have people that, you know, don't love and support me, that me being gay. You know, I don't need that here in my wedding, you know. So I told them that, and then, like, you know, we just had a big argument. It was really upsetting because my mom was like, oh, how would you, ask your sister how she will feel if her son was gay. And I asked her, she was like, you know, I would support my son. You know, that's like who he is, you know. And my mom was like, oh, you don't understand for us because in Vietnamese community, like culture, is looked down upon him being gay. Like, my cousin broke it down to me because I'm really, like, I talked to one of my closest cousins about it, the whole situation. She was like, oh, like, for you, you have thick skin, you know, you've been through so much, like this, like, what people say doesn't affect you, but them, they're not ready for what people have to say about you, you know, like, your child is basically your trophy, and, you know, you want to brag about your child having a wife, having kids, not, like, being gay, because it's, like, embarrassing. I was like, yeah, and she was like, don't worry about it, because, like, eventually they're gonna, like, open up to it and then be willing to handle what people have to say about me. I was like, yeah, I guess you're right, you know, because it was really emotional for me, you know, because, like, having your parents, I mean, granted, I came out to them, they didn't kick me out or anything, or cut me off or anything, you know, there's much more worse scenarios for other people who came out to their family, but, like, still, you know, it's just really saddening, like, sometimes how your parents, like, don't really fully accept who you are. But needless to say, everything worked out, you know. My parents really, like, every time I go out late at night, my mom was like, oh, where are you going? I'm gonna go see a boy. My dad's like, one time it was like Valentine's Day, I was making gifts for my friends. He was like, oh, who are you making that for? What boy are you making that for, you know? So my parents are really, like, more open and accepting about the idea, so everything's gonna work out, you know. I'm, like, open to all my family. Everybody know I'm gay, you know, all my cousins, everybody. I'm basically living my full authentic self. Like I said, closing this up, like, you know, don't be afraid. Like, everybody have their time and their moment of coming out, you know. You will know when your time is and what's right. You know, for me, it took me quite a bit while. Like, I came part out at an early age because I knew who I was. But, you know, to each their own, depending on your situation. I feel like, you know, when you know the time is right, when you're in this safe spot to come out to everybody, you will know it and you will do it. And it feels so liberating, so good to live your full authentic self and not have to lie and put a mask on for people, you know. It just feels so good. So this is basically my coming out story of me being gay. I just want to encourage everybody out there, you know, like, right now, if I know the moment may be tough, you know, or whatever, but eventually it does get better, you know. So I love you guys. Goodbye.